Elephant Man Podcast Network, grown man conversations dealing with elephants in the room. It's your man DB. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can know when new material is coming out. Elephant Man _ podcast, / Elephant Man Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, / Poster Boys, or hit the Paleo Hebrew in the top right or the bottom right to subscribe to YouTube. Blessings to you all. Also, we're under construction, but we're going to get some of this stuff going on real good. Odyssey, Hebrew Connect TV, Hebrew Sphere, BitChute, and Rumble. Woke Baby, where's the Woke Baby at? Boom, Woke Baby. What's going on? It's been a minute, everybody. It's been a couple of moons. Shalom, blessings to you all. Salama, blessings to you all. I have a special guest in the building tonight, none other than my wife of 20 plus years, Minister Mora LaDonna Bazell. What's going on? You got to unmute your mic. How you doing? She's got to unmute her mic. And
I thought you had muted it. I'm doing good.
You thought I muted your mic?
Yeah, I thought you had muted it before we got started.
Maybe I did mute it.
Well, I'm unmuted now.
Yeah. How's it going?
Good.
All right. So my wife, she went over to South Korea. I'll let her tell more about how did she end up going to South Korea? Why did she end up going to South Korea? And I'm gonna tell you guys the truth. I'm gonna be transparent. I was kind of like tripping, a little bit. I was excited, but I was kind of tripping, like, whoa, way across the world. You know what I mean? You hear stuff on TV about, Russia and China, and I'm like, South Korea is not that far from North Korea. It's not that far from China, and people that that we get into it with, well, not we, that this country get into it with, because I ain't into it with none of them, but that this country get into it with, and then I was kind of just concerned about okay, stuff breaking out and you got to stay over there, ain't no flying and all of that, what I mean. So I was kind of concerned. So tell me about what's going on. What's going on? How you feeling? What's going on?
I feel good. I'm getting back adjusted to the times. It's a day ahead in South Korea, 14 hours.
Man.
So yes, I'm getting adjusted back to time.
And I'm gonna tell you guys, it was very hard to figure it out. I figured it out at the end. So when it's 1 p.m. in the afternoon here, it's 1 a.m. there, plus add 2 hours.
Yes.
So it's 1 a.m., 2, 3. So it's 3 a.m. there. So right now it is 8:46 p.m. Central. So it's 8:46 a.m., 8:49, 10:46 a.m.
And it's tomorrow morning. Yes.
And it's
tomorrow morning.
Yes, it's Monday there already.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I had to figure this out, right? So I don't be calling 3 in the morning. She's not calling me at 3 in the morning and different things like that. It was real weird, but we figured it out.
Yes.
And so how you feeling besides that?
Besides that, I feel good. I feel like I learned a lot. I feel like it was the experience of a lifetime. I'm happy I went. It's my first time overseas, in another country. So I feel good. I feel very, very blessed. So I'm excited. I'm still like in, disbelief, like, man, I went to South Korea, but
wow.
I feel good. Yeah, I feel good.
Wow. So tell me, how did you come upon it though? Like, could you tell the people how you came upon going over there?
Yes. So I sometimes, I watch South Korean dramas from time to time, and I think it's a very, cool place. And I have to say, I never really thought that I would ever go. It was a place I was interested in, and but it was like like if you had one wish type thing, like if it was something that almost seemed unreachable, but you could do it, what would you do? And so I remember we were in a social work class as an icebreaker that was one of the questions. Like, well, if there's one place you could go where you could visit, where would it be? And so, I'm thinking like, well, yeah, South Korea, that might be a place that, I'm interested in. I would like to visit. So my advisor was like, so did you see, it was an email today that went out to all the social work students. They're going to do a study abroad program this summer in South Korea. Did you see it? And I said, no, I didn't see it. She said, yeah,
Wow.
check your email. She said, check your email. She said, it just came out today and they're going in the summer and it's only for 2 weeks, but it's a study abroad program to study behavioral health care and the healthcare systems in South Korea. You should take a look. And so I'm like, okay. So I looked at it and I thought about it a little bit because it's like, man, it's 2 weeks. Like what the expense gonna be like, just all those things. So I went ahead and just like took a leap of faith and applied, and I got accepted to the program. And
Wow.
yeah, and that was it, but I just thought that it was amazing that it was someplace like, like the Lord to give you the desires of your heart. Like it was something I was like, oh, it would be nice to go, but never really like trying to plan it. Just it kind of just seemed unobtainable.
Yeah.
And just that, God made a way. So it was just a blessing. It just, I was very shocked and surprised. And I don't know why, because we know God can do anything, right? There's nothing impossible when it comes to him. But
Yeah.
just how it all happened, I was just very grateful. So I was able
Yeah.
to
You know
go.
what? And you're, to your point, it's not that you can't do it, but it's got to be on the forefront of your mind. And
Mm-hmm.
days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, months turn into years, and next thing you know, if you don't, sometimes if you don't plan it out, then you can't do it. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
encouraged because, like I want to go to the crib, right? I want to
Mm-hmm.
go to the continent. A lot of people know I want to go to the continent and check it out, and especially West Africa, as far as Ghana, Benin, and Togo. But as far as East Africa, as far as Ethiopia, Kenya,
Mm-hmm.
and Egypt, I want to start off with those: Ethiopia, Kenya, and Egypt. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and but so you encourage me to say, "Yo, start looking into it." So we can go abroad. Another thing too, they was having the flight restrictions. You know how I feel about that jab. We ain't gonna go into that because it ain't the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, I'm not getting jabbed up to get on a plane. So they
Mm-hmm.
lifted the flight restrictions. And
Yeah.
is anything in particular you had to do to go over there?
No, because like you said, a lot of the restrictions as far as the COVID had been lifted. So, that was another concern I had because I didn't know, um, what was supposed to happen as far as what I needed. But a lot of stuff, even like it's a, it's like a little, it's like I guess you would call it like it's almost like a visa, but it's not a visa, but it's called the KETA that usually you would have to go to Korea. You have to fill out this information, but they lifted that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to get the jab. You don't have to, take shots like for yellow fever or any of that. You didn't have to do any of that. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's a
So,
miracle. That's a
yep.
blessing.
Yep.
That's really a
Yep.
blessing.
So I was able to go, and the thing about it is it was with a group. That's another thing that I was always leery about traveling abroad. Like going just personal by yourself. I'm like, I don't know, but it was a group there. Now I did have to travel there myself. I had to fly and stayed one night by myself before the program started. But once the program started, like a lot of the places we went, it was very guided by our professors because they were from South Korea. So that increased, my level of comfort because it was all guided. They took care of like the buses to the agencies and everywhere else. So that helped take my comfort level up a little bit. So
Oh, cool, cool,
yeah,
cool. So I know you learned some things. Not,
yes.
I want you to tell me what you learned, different culture wise, and then what you learned about yourself. All right.
Okay, so culturally wise, the it's a very collective society there.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I also had to keep in mind, like their population is is homogeneous, which means it's all the same. They're all Koreans. So
Yeah.
they don't have like where they have like an Indian community or like an African American community or like, you know, a Polish community or like any of that. It's like they're all Koreans. So there is it's not as diverse as the United States, but it's still very collective. Like everybody cares for everybody else. Like when they look at policy and they look at you know, initiatives they put in place is for the betterment of the community, of everybody. It's not just made to benefit one part of the population and not the other. It's collectively, how can we make this community better?
Yeah. You know, one thing I thought about that, how America is supposed to be this great melting pot and there's different cultures. It's supposed to be diverse and equal, and everybody runs for this American dream and capitalism. But it is many different cultures. Now when they come together, they do make other cultures, but it's people from different diverse backgrounds. But like when you go to Ireland, they Irish. When you go to France, they French. When you
Yes.
go to Korea, they Korean. You know, like you said, and so they homogeneous to that. So that's, but as opposed to here, the dynamics is a little bit different. You know what I mean? And so I thought about that when we was talking about assimilating to the dominant society, right? Like we accept you a little bit, but you have to get with the program of our culture, our norms. You know, assimilate to what we got going on. So that seems like that's pretty much different than
Yeah.
over there, right? So what
Right.
about the difference between socialism, communism? I done threw you
Hmm.
right to the fire, right? Socialism,
Yeah.
communism, capitalism. What's going on with that over there?
Okay. So I don't know like what they officially categorize their government as. I I'm not sure. I would have to check. But to me, it's like a socialism society. So
Gotcha.
it's socialism. So and I don't even know if they would call it that because they have a president, they have a constitution. A lot of their government is set up the same way America's is set up. So I don't know if they specifically classify themselves as a social, like a socialistic community. I mean country. I don't know, but so for one, they do have the universal health care,
Oh, okay.
and so we visited the National Insurance Agency, and then we also visited the HIRA, and it's the health insurance like assessment place, like where they assess costs for hospital visits, prescriptions, and they assess like if they're going to offer them with their insurance. So what it is with their health insurance, like I said, is universal health care. Everybody pays into it. Every citizen that works pays into this insurance program. Every Korean is covered, like the basics of healthcare, like the very basics, like preventative checkups, dental, things like that. Everyone is covered. So they have so many health clinics, and along with the health clinics, they also have wellness centers. And that the wellness centers or welfare centers are not the places like for low income. It's for everybody in the community. They're like community centers that are set up to offer services to all the citizens. And it's like for whoever. Like if you live in that community and say you need a daycare center, there are daycare centers provided in these welfare or wellness centers that anybody can use. So a lot of the services that are privatized in the United States and are like for profit here
Yeah.
in the United States is not for profit there. Like their daycare centers aren't for profit. They're offered by the
Oh,
government.
wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Yep.
so I mean, I guess that takes a little bit out of the competition pool
Yeah.
because yo man, I gotta get my daycare greater than yours. I gotta get my facilities better than yours. This, that, and the other.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so do they encourage small business and entrepreneurship and capitalism at all, or what?
Yes, because they do have shops, like their restaurants there, like clothing shops. So you can have a business, you can own things. So it is free enterprise as well. But it seems like for those basic needs, like
Yeah.
for, like I said, child care, that's provided for anyone who can benefit from it. For their welfare centers. So the welfare centers, like again, I said, it's not like how we think of welfare, like handouts for poor. It's for the wellness. Like if you need to come to the center and see a mental health care professional, that's covered. You can go and see someone. If you
Wow.
need, for a lot of the elderly, they have dementia centers. So they offer classes for people who've been diagnosed with dementia, or if you need health issues dealing with dementia, they have those set up at all their health clinics. Everyone is by law. If you have a health clinic, you have to have a department set up for dementia patients. So they do like a Meals on Wheels program, and again, these are not for low income. It's for like those elderly population that live by themselves. They go and take the meals, and then they do health screenings with the meals. They check their blood pressure, check their cholesterol, some, whatever they need, and it's included with their universal health care.
Man.
So, yep. And then, it's like if you're, of course, you're covered, you don't have to go to a certain place. Every health center takes everybody in that community. So you don't have to worry about finding a center that takes your insurance. Like if it's not like that. You can go wherever. Wherever you can get to, that's where you can go.
You know what? One thing that I think of that's real. Oh, my dog is going off in the background. One thing that I think that's very interesting is the fact that when you go to a hospital in America, they pull you right into the billing room, right? You or a loved one right into the
Yeah.
billing room because they're trying to figure out who gonna pay for this. You can
Yes.
be leaking, you can be straight up
Yeah.
emergency room, ER, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yes.
yeah, who's gonna pay for this? What's your insurance? You know
Yes.
what I mean? And it's just that's the con to free enterprise and capitalism. It's just the dollar before the people. You know what I mean? That dollar is mean. That dollar will have
Yeah.
you enslaving people. That dollar have you denying people services
Yeah.
because they
They're
don't
not
have the
covered.
money.
Yeah.
You know what I
Or you're
mean? So
not, or you're not the provider in their network. It's not like that there. And also, uh those services, like we get billed extra. Like if you see anesthesiologist, if you see uh you might get a bill for billing. Then if they do an x-ray, they might do billing for x-ray. Is all separate, right? So if you take the ambulance, that's a separate bill. If you go through the emergency room, that's a separate bill. If you see the ER, all of those things are separate, and it's not like that there. They don't itemize like cost for a visit. It's all one price.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, even I think about our petroleum based products, the our
Mm-hmm.
meds and stuff like that. How a pill could be $650. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And if you don't have that money on hand, then
Yeah.
you just deny that service.
Right. So this is the thing. So that agency I told you about, the HIRA, they do assessments for medical care. So they kind of regulate what's the cost. So it's like if you want to offer services and you want your services to be covered under that universal health care, like they have to assess the price. They have to assess the effectiveness. They have to assess all of that before you can have your services or products offered to be covered under their universal health care. And like here, the pharmaceuticals can charge whatever. Like they can
Yes.
they can charge whatever they want for their medicine. But in Korea, they can't do that. If you want them to cover your pills or your pharmaceuticals under their insurance, they evaluate and assess if it's a fair price. So they really like are in control. It's not like the pharmaceuticals or the medical industry is running the insurance. You know what I mean? It's like they're regulated by that agency, that the HIRA. They're regulated
And you
by
know what? I think
that.
that's a good thing to protect, because that protects the people. But it makes you. I mean, because capitalism and free enterprise always demonize quote unquote socialism, and I don't even know if there's another term for it, or government ran, government
Yes.
control, what, different things like that. They paint this ugly picture, but man, that's regulating, and that's going to bat for the little man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or
Yes.
for the common folk. I think that's
Yes.
good. For a free enterprise, like I could do whatever, I can charge
Yes.
whatever. Then we got free enterprise as far as the prisons, and it just gets wild around here.
Right. Right. Because it's about like that capitalism. Like you can make as much money as you want. You can. You know what I mean? So it's not like that. It's not ran by agencies having, making the most profit they can make. Is really about like that wellness of the people. So it's regulated. Now some people say, well, I feel like with the free enterprise it allows you to have this cutting edge technology that other places don't have. But again, South Korea is not lacking in those things. It's not like it's a third world country. They're very modernized and technologically advanced. So it's not like you're getting second class care there for things, So I don't know if that's to me it seemed like that might be propaganda as to why a universal healthcare system wouldn't work in the United States. Because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, but we got cutting edge technology, we have this, we have that, but they're not lacking in those things there.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. It's definitely a difference. So I want to think about the racism. Like we deal with different pockets of racism. We deal with covert and overt racism. It is
Hmm.
what it is. You know what I mean? Did you experience some mean mugging and some racism from the Korean people there?
So one thing that I thought was interesting, like they're like on their subways and in public places, um they had a sign like, you can be prosecuted for physical assault and verbal assault. So it's like we don't want you hollering and screaming at people either. Like not only like
Wow.
no fighting, but you're not gonna, be, assaulting people with your words either. So even like on the trains, people don't talk to each other. Like you don't see someone down there performing. You don't talk on your phones on public transportations. It's just a very courteous culture there. And even if people looked, it was more like a not like a disdain, like, ugh, what are you doing here? It was
Yeah.
like a, hey, what are you doing here?
Wow.
like, oh, I got so many questions, like like,
Wow.
so it was different, because I never felt like, how you can go some places in America and you just feel like uneasy, like, oh, like I'm getting stared at, like I can feel like the hate almost. But it
Oh,
wasn't
yeah,
it
yeah,
wasn't like that. Even just being in in being around where you're the minority, which we are, sometimes here in the United States, it was just a different feeling.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. You know what I mean? And a lot of people that travel abroad, sometimes they say, "Yo, I don't get the same tension than and the aggression and racial tension where
Yeah.
I'm actually born and raised at." You know what I mean? It's just a different animal and a different monster. Not everywhere, but somewhere.
Yeah.
I never understood how you can go overseas, fighting the war or fighting, and come back and get discriminated against
Yeah.
and all that good stuff like
Yeah.
that. So that's very, very interesting.
And you know what was funny? I was talking to another one of the students, and I asked her, like, did she feel she got more stares from like other, like, because you can go and you can see like white people from England or even white people from America, you know, it's white people there too. But what's funny is they're looking at you like, what are you doing here? And it's like, no, we somewhere else. What are you doing here? It's like you can't look at me like what I'm doing here. We're not in, you know, Backtown, Mississippi or something in the United States. We're somewhere else. You know, it's like, so you can't look at me like what you doing here when you somewhere else. It's like what you doing here too. It's like it's not the
Wow.
same. It's not the same. You
You're not
know,
the
like,
dominant culture.
yeah, you're not the
That's
dominant culture
funny.
either. It's like,
You're not
you
the
know,
dominant culture.
right. So it's
Dang.
not the same. It's not the same thing. And so it was just different because we were getting looks too. Um, you know, from other, you know, people, whether they, like I said, they're from America or, you know, wherever, just, you know, Caucasians. Like, what are y'all doing here? It's like, no, what are you
Right.
doing here?
Wow. That's crazy.
This not y'all stuff here.
Now, this is neutral. This is neutral. You know, when you colonize the whole world, you think that you own all everything.
Yeah,
You go overseas. That's why I hear about guys going overseas,
yeah,
thinking what they can do in those countries, what they can do in America, end up getting caned and
yeah,
put in jail and beat down. You know, I'm like, you're not at the crib. You're not about to
yes,
do you. And you're going to learn about it. And that's the thing about not showing respect and honor to someone else's country. And like, yo, I can do whatever I want to. I'm from the United States. Like, no, you got to
right.
show respect and honor in other people's cultures. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very interesting. What about the music? Is it you know, different things like that? Did you know see a lot of music and stuff like that?
Yes. So it's, yeah. So they're like they have a genre of music, the K-pop, that's really popular there, and it's kind of just like, you know, our R&B, you know, like the boy bands that, you know, NSYNC's, the New Editions, you know, like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's real interesting there. And you know, one of the other students was just talking about like the cultural, you know, appropriation, of course, with the hip hop culture and things.
Yes.
But I, it's just a different, it's more, and I don't want to say it like, I don't want this to sound condescending, but it's almost like a admiration. It's not like I'm going to take what you do and I'm trying to,
Oh,
you know how like they say, like if you
they
copy
mimic.
so,
They mimic out of admiration
yes, like,
instead of
yes, like
culture,
that,
culture.
yes, yes. So you know how like they say, like if someone copies you, like that's the highest form of admiration. And I'm not saying it like in
Wow.
a condescending way.
No, I'm
Like,
tracking with you.
yeah, like they're not doing it to get rich or like to, you know, like to take advantage. They really like it. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, this is cool. Like this is, wow, you know, like I want to do this, you know, and that's what it's like. And like I say, even when we went to different agencies, um, when we would have downtime, you know, if the some of the workers that they spoke American, like they were so excited just to talk in English to you. Like it was just, you know, it was just different. It was just different.
Man, that's amazing. That's really, really cool, man. I really think that that's really, really cool. You know, Judah means praise. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
we are all over the planet. You know what I'm saying? People assimilate to our culture. You know what I mean? But like you said, someone like, yo, I can put this in the bottle. It's a difference
Mm-hmm.
between saying I can put this in the bottle and sell it and
Mm-hmm.
own the artist and own their material. You know,
Mm-hmm.
intellectual property, or I
Yeah.
can mimic it to, you know what I mean? I get credit for it, the
Yeah.
Elvises and the
Yeah.
Eminems and
Yeah.
all these different people, but to say I admire it, and that's the reason why I inspire to do it. It's
Yeah.
very, very interesting, man. And that's an awesome, awesome time. And the web and the you guys made the paper. I
Yes.
shared that link. If you guys are part of our Elephant Man podcast on Facebook, go on there and check out that link. We're gonna be posting pictures on there as well on the Elephant Man podcast Facebook page. But what you guys say about the making a paper?
Yeah, so they one of the agencies posted in the newspaper that they got a visit from the Indiana University School of Social Work students, and you know, welcomed us and had it in the newspaper, and basically was just telling like what we were there to do. And so, like I said, they were just very excited. They were excited to show us their culture, to share with us, what they do. And when one of the centers that we went to, it actually helps with the North Korean defectors.
Yeah.
So when they get there, they come to the center, and they kind of get them acclimated to living life in South Korea. They give them a cash stipend and gift cards. They show them how to work a cell phone. They get them a place to stay. They do free mental health counseling
Wow.
for them to just get them over the traumatic experience, not only from just living in North Korea, but from the trip, what they have to go through and endure to get there. Some of them, if they get caught, like they're facing like potential death, torture if they get caught. If they left family behind, they don't know what's going to happen to their family. So like they literally risk it all
Wow.
just for their freedom. And it was so the lady that's the director, she's a defector. She defected from North Korea like maybe 30 years ago, if not more. But she's the director now of that center. And she was just telling us like the things that they face, just defecting. Like a lot of women, they basically volunteer to go into trafficking
Wow.
to even make it to South Korea. But what I thought was such a kind gesture was that when they come back, they call it reinstating their citizenship. So they
Mm.
don't consider it like you're an outsider coming in. They welcome you in as a Korean. They don't look at it as like you're an outsider coming in and trying to assimilate. They're like, look, you done been through enough. Just welcome back. welcome,
Wow.
welcome
That's
back.
interesting you said
Yes,
that reinstating your citizenship when
yes,
we all get back and go back to the continent and go to West Africa and being reinstating of our citizenship. But we're 400 years removed from that.
yeah,
But the de facto, to your point, is the North Korea they have different rules, regulations, and communist regime as opposed to South Korea, which is more free and liberal. And so
yeah,
when they cross that
yeah,
line separating North Korea from South
yeah,
Korea, then they are de facto,
yeah.
and then they
Defector.
can be
Yep,
free.
yep,
But if the North Koreans find out that somebody left, it
yes,
could be problems for the family that
yes,
stayed. I thought that was
yes.
interesting. You said that, like, okay, he gone. We gonna hurt your uncle. We gonna hurt your kids and everybody
hmm
that's still here.
So that's why when they make it, they try very hard to change their identity so that the family can't be traced in North Korea.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that would be kind of hard because I'm like, yo, I found a way to get over the line to get to South Korea, but I'm stuck because I don't want my
yeah.
family member that's decided not to flee to get
Mhm.
hurt or injured or anything like that. That's interesting.
Mhm.
Very, very
Mhm.
interesting. Uh,
Yeah.
so the last question is about food. Did they have any like so-called American food over there? What was your diet? That's one of the things that I think about when it's time to travel. That I'm gonna go
Yeah.
somewhere and it's gonna be like, yo, I don't eat that, and then it's their delicacy. They love it,
Yeah.
and you disgusted by it, or not disgusted by it, but
Yeah.
it's just not good on your palate because you're not used to eating that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So yeah. So like
so
I have had South Korean food. Like if we go to the Korean barbecue, or once for my birthday we were able to go to a Korean restaurant. So I mean I like some of their stuff. So for me it wasn't difficult, like the kimchi or um bean sprouts or something like that. But they have a McDonald's, they have a Burger King, they have a KFC, they have a Subway. So if you didn't want to do too much, you could find something. You could find something that would fit your palate. If that,
Oh,
you didn't
okay.
want to to go all the way. But yeah, it was good. I did go to. I didn't go to the KFC or Subway, but we did go to the Burger King there and the McDonald's there. So
Oh, okay.
their menu is a little different, but like the things like the Whopper, the Big Mac, the nuggets, those things are staples there. So you
Oh,
could
okay.
definitely, if you didn't want to try something new, you could definitely do that.
Okay, cool, cool. Any last thing that you want to talk about? What you learned? What you learned as a person, as far as growth, as far as takeaways, as far as something that you found out about yourself, as far as what did Yahweh share with you? What did you get in closing?
So yeah, so one thing that the first thing I got was not. I talked about this a little bit earlier. How um like God is so relational. Like I didn't verbalize or I didn't try to make any plans to go to South Korea, even though like I knew it was a place that I would want to visit. It was just like a ideal place. Like, oh, that would be nice to do that. Not even really thinking I would go or not really even putting any effort into it, but how he just made a way for me to go. I felt like that was so mindful and how God will give you the desires of your heart, if you delight yourself in him. And I just thought that was like, it just kind of blew my mind. And I was thinking earlier how like even with like the culture, like that's a big thing to say, oh, girl, I got flued out. But it's
Yeah.
but it's like literally like God made a way to I got flew out to South Korea, by my
Wow,
dad, by my father God. So I was just like, it's so
man.
yeah. So I just thought that was it just delighted me that, something that like he gotta do this for you and you don't have to sell yourself short or or sell yourself cheap. Like if you delight yourself in him, he'll give you the desires of your heart, so you can trust in him and you can have a relationship with him and he'll make a way. Like he'll fly you out, and not in a way where God is just like a genie, but just because of the relationship, because
Yeah,
he cares for you. He's our father. And I
yeah.
just thought how like for him that was nothing for him to do that. Like you want to go to South Korea, here you go. And
Wow.
I just was so grateful for that. Still in awe at just how he does things. He's just a good father. And then another thing I learned about myself is uh just to overcome fear, to overcome being in a place that's not comfortable. You don't know what's going on, you don't know these things, and just to continue to trust God, like Lord. Because like I said, the first day I got there, I didn't, I was on these subways going from here to here to here, like, oh Lord, where is this Airbnb? And I was just standing there like, okay, what am I missing? What am I missing? And just at that time, um, a guy came around the corner. It was another black guy. He was like, well, I'm not from here, but he helped me find the place. And I was just thinking of the timing, like God is so mindful, like just even the right time. Like
Yeah.
he provided a way for me to, because the streets are kind of funny. Like if I took some pictures of it, but it could be a street and it's like this little alleyway. But it's not an alley like what we would consider as an alley. It's a street. It's like
Oh,
it's not
okay.
it's not a place traditionally you would turn down if you were looking for a place. You know what I mean? But that's
Yeah.
just about being outside of my comfort zones, because that's not what we would do here. But for them, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly safe. This is a safe street. It's businesses back here. It's restaurants back here. But for me, I'm like, I'm not going down that alley.
Right, right. Okay, I feel you on that one.
so, but
Alley
that was
looking.
yes, but that was exactly where the place was. But just how mindful he is with just providing that help when I need it. You know what I mean? So it's, just trusting in God, overcoming fear, because just being, like I said, halfway around the world from where you're supposed to be, you're like, well, what if this happened? How could I get home? Well, what about this? Well, what about that? But it's
Yeah.
like, but he brought you this far. That's not who he is. So just another level of trust and knowing, like he said, without faith you can't please God. You have to know that he is, and that he's a rewarder. So you have to know it, you have to know God, you know what I mean? But then you have to trust in his character, that he is, and he's a rewarder. So you have to know, trust in his faithfulness. You have to trust in his trueness. You have to trust in the character of who God is. So it's not enough to just know who he is, but just trust in his character. Like, why would he take me here to have things come upon me? It's like he's not that, that's not who he is. But it's just fear. It's just fear and just being outside your comfort zone that you have to overcome. And it can be done. It can be
Wow.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. That is really, really amazing. It's really, really been a blessing, and it has encouraged me to say, like I said, I named the 4 places I want to go to on the continent, and it's encouraged me to look into them and to go and to check
Mm-hmm.
it out. And you know what I mean. We're very used to this place, you know what I mean. But it's people living their lives way across the world. You know what I'm saying, doing their thing. So.
Yeah,
Um,
I when I was in the room, because like I said, the accommodations were so great at both places, and I was sitting out on the balcony at the second place, and I was just looking at people live their life, and I was just like, wow, like outside of our little world, it's a whole nother world of people living and existing, and we don't even know, we're not even thinking about, you know we're not globally aware, I should say.
yeah.
We just so used to what happens in our little bubble.
Right.
And one thing, when we went to the center that dealt with the North Korean defectors, one thing the lady said, and she had tears in her eye, and I'm telling you, it was so touching, that visit. But she said, behind policy and behind, like, governments decisions, and behind all of those things, like what we hear, rumors and rumors of wars and all these things, like, there are people behind these things, and we can't ever forget about the people behind the things we hear. And that just was like mind blowing to me, because we don't consider, like, it's people that's being affected. It's
Man.
people who are dealing with these things, and this is their life. If you live somewhere and you living under the fear of being invaded, like, this is your life that's at
Man.
stake. You know what I mean? So it just
Yeah.
reminded me just to pray for people. Like, don't always take what we hear in the media at face value. Like,
Yeah.
these are areas of prayer that that the Lord can intervene in. It's nothing too big for him. So it just reminded me, just don't forget about people.
Man. Man. That's some good stuff. I've learned and grown too. I haven't actually went over there, but I've learned and grown too. So I thank you. I'm glad you made it home safe. Uh, to be honest, I was like, yo, I should want to go do that, but it's okay. Because I never want to put none of my fear or my anxiety or off on you while you in the plane thinking about everything I said or didn't say or didn't do or so I'm just like, okay, Abba, according to her faith, you got her. And so
Hmm.
it was a blessing.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining me this night, man. And Elephant Man Podcast Network, Grown Man Conversations dealing with elephants in the room. I'm with my wife, LaDonna Bazell, Minister LaDonna Bazell. She went over to South Korea. Very, very good time. She has pictures and everything we're gonna put on the Elephant Man Facebook page and probably on the IG page.
Mm.
So we are out. Shalom.
Perfect.